for changing the course of his life. He was called retarded by a teacher. How did he overcome that?
He overcame that with the help of a black teacher, and he credits Sametta Wallace Jackson because she said, "Oh, you're not stupid. You just can't read. You need some help."
As a teenager, Thompson caught the eye of legendary Boston Celtics head coach Red Auerbach, who steered his protege first to Providence College and then to the Celtics, where he backed up Bill Russell for 2 seasons. When his playing days were over, Thompson returned to D.C. to get a master's degree in education.
Never had any intention of being a coach until a struggling nobody basketball team at St. Anthony's High School said, "Hey, we need somebody to work with these kids." He was immediately successful as a high school coach, and that led to Georgetown saying, if we want to have a basketball team, we better get some black people up in here, and that's the guy we want.
Hold it. The fella, you're holding on to the ball too long, son. You got to get rid of it.
Let's remember that Coach Thompson graduated from high school in 1960 as one of the most highly recruited players in Washington and nationally, but Georgetown didn't recruit him. They didn't allow any black players at that time. And 12 years later, he's the head coach.
When you come down the floor, don't try to wait for the ball.
He was criticized for his team's makeup, mostly black, many disadvantaged.
It was important for him to give opportunity to these kids who may not appear that they belong there, because that was him.
But make no mistake, Coach John Thompson was about winning. As he put it,
I started being perceived as this, Coach Thompson helping all these poor black kids. He was like, wait a minute, I won a lot of games too. Yeah, I was trying to help these kids, but I wasn't trying to help any slow, short guys. He's very honest about his motivations.
John Thompson is now...
By the 1980s, Hoya paranoia, as it was known, was in full swing. Led by center Patrick Ewing, Georgetown dominated college basketball.
That's the ball game, national champion.
Culminating in 1984.
I don't want to over-dramatize it, but John Thompson is the first black coach to ever win the NCAA basketball championship.
Thompson spoke to CBS News about the achievement.
I cannot associate myself with being proud with the first or only black to do anything, because that implies that you're the first or only to have intelligence.
In 1989, Thompson staged a successful protest of Prop 42.
John Thompson is heading for the exit,
which would have raised standardized testing requirements and adversely affected black student athletes.
Think about how many lives have been touched by Coach Thompson refusing to give in to the pressures that society puts on us to just throw some people away. He made sure that his kids were educated, not that they went to class, not that they passed, but that they learned, that they received an education.
As for the one misconception others had that bothered Thompson most,
that he was trying to intimidate people, that he was trying to bully people. It was based on his physical appearance. And he says in the book, everywhere I went, I brought me with me. I speak loudly because I'm composed of big things. And people were scared by him.
That image is also at the heart of the title of the book, which comes from a poem by the same name, written by Thompson's uncle.
The poem begins, I came as a shadow, I stand now a light. The depth of my darkness transfigures your night. And so Coach did come as a shadow. Literally, figuratively, he frightened people. But at the end of his life, we understood that really he illuminated so many things about basketball, about education, about life.
John Thompson stepped down as head coach of Georgetown in 1999.
Hi, this is Poppy.
In retirement, he hosted a radio show and served on Nike's board of directors. He passed away in August of 2020. What are some of the things that you miss most about him not being here?
More than anything, just talking to him. You know, a day does not go by. Like you reach for your phone to call him.
That's the dad side, that's not the coach side.
No, he wasn't coach to me. He's dad. I don't know if my brother and sister agree with this, but the last few months, editing that and going through that helped keep him going.
What did you think when you read this?
I thought he accomplished what he wanted.
This book, by the way, is a part of this box, which is a swag box that the players here at the NCAA tournament all got. It's once again passing on this message. And guys, Jesse Washington told me that John Thompson this summer was so proud of seeing the protests that NBA and WNBA players were having, protesting racial injustice. Again, passing along the message. One last thing, not just white or black. He had huge influences on him who wore white. I mentioned Red Auerbach in the piece, but also Dean Smith at North Carolina, and even Phil Knight at Nike. It's an amazing, amazing book. I can't recommend it enough.
Dana.